I am fearfully and wonderfully made. So what you say about me doesn't matter. What you think about me doesn't matter. I don't go defending my honor to anyone. People talk about me. They talked about Jesus Christ. Who are you for me to defend myself to? I tell people to get a security card, back it with a security deposit. And if you got $2,000 that you could put on it, put $2,000 on that security card. Pay your cell phone, pay your utilities, and then pay your credit card off with your checking account. That's how you build credit. You pay your bills that you already have money accounted for on that credit card.
6 years ago, my wife took nothing but an ideal and faith and turned it into a multi-million-dollar business with multiple streams of income. As a woman possessed, she overcame all obstacles and created multiple streams of wealth that has impacted our family for generations to come. From mental health professional to therapist to author to CEO, she is a constant reminder of the grace of God over her life. Get ready to listen to and take notes from Stenell, the money therapist, as she schools you on money, entrepreneurship, and life skills that was not taught. No more excuses. Wake up!
Welcome back to No More Excuses, Wake Up, where we talk about money, entrepreneurship, and life skills that was not taught. I am your host, Stenell Myers, also known as Stenell, the money therapist. This week we are discussing money with guest Shawn Perry. Shawn Perry, a native of Newark, New Jersey, who currently resides in South Jersey, a wife, mother, worshiper, and domestic violence advocate who loves to inspire and empower people during their everyday walks of life. Shawn served 20 years of working in the human service field and had the privilege of becoming a behaviorist for the last 7 years, and granted the opportunity to pursue and receive a master's degree in both counseling and behavior analysts. Through her various skills that she have acquired over the years, Shawn was able to teach people to navigate through various life challenges through the use of practical behavioral strategies. Shawn is a solution-driven person. In June of 2020, she stepped out on faith and started her journey of entrepreneurship by becoming a board-certified credit consultant. Shawn started her own credit restoration business where she worked with people all over the country to become financial literate and financially free. Shawn Perry, welcome to the show. How are you?
I am wonderful. Thanks for having me.
You are so welcome. I am glad that you are here on No More Excuses, Wake Up. And we actually met on my birthday, and you serenaded me with happy birthday. And I was in Antigua, and I said to my husband, I said,
Wow.
listen. And he said, oh my gosh, he said she has a beautiful voice. And I listened maybe 3 or 4 times, and I kept listening and listening. And that's when I reached out to you and I said, thank you so much. That was a very special birthday, but your voice is phenomenal.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I don't think it's all that. But I
No.
know we were growing up. I've been singing since I was 3 years old. You know how it goes in the family. And
Mm-hmm.
that's just always been a
Church,
gift. Yes, ma'am.
I can hear it. I heard it in the vocals.
Yes, in the church. I was 3 years old, standing on a chair, me and my sister doing a duet, and I've been singing ever since. So I do it in church now, praise and worship team, solos, whatever. Not professional. It's just a passion of mine, and it's my gift, that I give, that God gave me, and I share it with the world.
Well, I want to say thank you for sharing it with me. I do appreciate that.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate it. And then after that, I started looking and following you on Instagram. And then I said, oh, wait a second. We have a lot in common. I said, Miss Shawn, she actually helped people with their credit and she helped people with their finances. We have something in common. So then I started really listening to your video clips and I was intrigued. So that's why I
Okay.
invited you on the show.
Oh, wow. And listen, let me tell you, this social media thing is new to me because, I was on Facebook, had about 1,000 friends, I guess, just family friends because I've been on just sharing photos and stuff. And then when I got into my business, it's like, listen, you got to tell the world what you're doing. So you got to get on social media. And I'm just like, you mean I got to go in front of people? And as much as I'm out there, doing that was so out of my comfort zone. But once I started realizing that people were sending me messages saying, oh my God, that helped me so much. And it was just me just jumping on, just having a conversation. I got pretty comfortable with it. And so I was basically on Facebook. Then I moved over to Instagram, like, let me get out there and start playing around with this thing. And I'm having a ball. That's all I can say. And I'm learning so much and I'm meeting some incredible people, i.e. you. Hello. Had I never
Yes.
stepped foot across that Facebook and went to Instagram, I may not have come across you. But when I saw it, I said, Stenell, the money therapist. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. So, can you tell the people exactly who you are, what you do? I understand that you have I was reading about in your bio, your degree. Can you tell us what your degree is in and how you just transformed into your own business helping people?
Well, I've been in human services for over 20 years, and I work with adults with disabilities in that arena. I was a group home manager, assistant family teacher. My husband got into it together. We were family teachers where we lived in the group home and we took care of adults with disabilities until his unfortunate accident in 2002 that left him paralyzed. That transitioned me to do it alone. Just took up that mantle and I've been helping. And so now I become a caregiver for individuals with disabilities. Now I'm a caregiver for my husband. We had just been married 8 years when all of this happened and our lives were changed upside down, like in a twinkling of an eye. It's how fast it happened. We had to make some adjustments. And so as life would happen, my job allowed me to stay in that position without him being my partner. And because they saw the value of what I was doing in such a short time that I had been there. I was able to stay there. We bought a home out here in Willingboro. That was in Hightstown that we moved to Willingboro. I didn't know anything about Lincoln University. Through my church, my pastor, Bishop Evans, he was sitting on the board.
Wait a minute. Maybe that's where. Right there.
Bethany?
Bethany. I was a member of Bethany for 7 years.
Really?
And I was on a Women of Judah, the praise dance.
The praise dances with Hawa?
Yes, ma'am.
That's it. We do know each other. I've been at Bethany since 2005. Coming down here and interacting and being in that environment changed my life because dealing with the loss, because listen, his accident was a loss. Even though he lost the use of his, limbs and all those things, his memory, he's paralyzed from the chest down. That changed our relationship. The dynamic of our relationship changed because now we can't do business as usual. Still can do business, but it's different. When I walked into Bethany, listening to the teachings and about forgiveness, because there was a lot of things that was happening that I had to learn how to forgive, but you're going to have to do this and then I'll forgive you, not knowing that forgiveness is a gift.
Wow. So you're saying that your forgiveness came with something someone had to do for you?
Oh yeah,
because
it was conditional.
Conditional.
It was conditional. Yes, it was.
Like your
until I learned that's not true forgiveness. Sitting under that teaching and just being engrossed, I didn't join right away because remember, I'm from North Jersey originally, and I was traveling back and forth to North Jersey, even living in Hightstown. So wherever I am, I'm committed. So Shawn Perry is loyal. She's a worshiper. She's committed. She's a mother. She's a wife. She's a daughter. And whatever I do, I give it 100%. I'm an advocate. I'm a friend. So I'm a supporter, encourager. I go all in. Still was driving to my former church 45 minutes away.
So you were doing both?
In the beginning, because I didn't know anything about that.
Wow.
So I still was going to, so when my husband's accident was in 2002, I still was traveling to Newark to go to church, but I wasn't getting what I need. And my girlfriend introduced me to a service at Bethany. It was a TBN taping or something that night. And she asked me to just come with her. And I did. And when I walked into that church and when I saw it, I said, if I ever left my church, I would come here because they had the choir. Even though it was such a big building, it was a home feeling. It was very homey, very family oriented.
Yes.
And I said, it was just like my old church. I said, well, if I ever left my church, I would come here. Never in a million years thought that I would leave my church. I came down here. I started working with domestic violence, and that was my capstone project. I did all the research I could on domestic violence because I saw it in my family. I've never been a victim of it,
Mm-hmm.
but I've witnessed it not knowing, even going back as far as high school. And my girlfriend was like, when I saw her boyfriend snatch her away from us and let's go. And she promised and made us promise that we wouldn't tell anybody. And the outcome of that, as she got older, she married him and she attempted murder, went to jail. And I made a vow that I would never keep that a secret again. When I found out about our ministry at the church,
I don't know what year it was, but I trained the domestic violence. It was about 35 women, and it was under Pastor Nick. And I did a domestic violence training. I trained the women for the safe house. I said, wow, I can't believe that.
Look at it. See, we're connected.
Yes, ma'am.
And I just was helping people. And I started using my voice. Like I started seeing something, say something. So I'm the mediator in my family.
Okay.
Right. So I have all these hats that I wear. I didn't realize what I was doing, but I then got promoted on my job to move to a company down here called Rest Care, where it was, we're still working with adults with disabilities. I was the supervisor of the group homes, and then I became the behaviorist. This is how I shifted to went to go get another master's degree. Because in 2012, I got the human services and counseling. I got this position in 2014, went to my first meeting and they called me the expert. And I said, who are they talking about? Who's the expert they referring to? And they were referring to me because I was the behaviorist in the room. And I left that meeting and I came home and I went back to my office and I called my husband. I said, listen, I got to go back to school. He said, what? Like you just finished. And all the while in 2012, I lost my mom. That was a hit. Right after that,
Yes.
right before my mom, it was my niece, the one that was involved in the domestic violence. Then my mom, 2 months later, my sister, 6 months later, sister-in-law, 2 weeks later. From 12 to 13, it was nothing but loss. What would your average typical person do? But because I'm so rooted and grounded in my faith, in my walk with God, and sitting under the leadership that I was sitting under, the teaching that I had received all those years prior prepared me. Not that you ever prepare for death, you know what I'm saying? But we know how to manage it a little bit better because that's my go-to. I can't talk to about anything else, but my go-to is worship. That gets me through everything. After that, I decided I'm going to go get this degree in behavior analysis and criminal justice because I want to be the expert.
Okay.
So how that ties into me down the line, it just all culminates who I am. So everything I do is now from a behavioral perspective. That's how I view things. I'm very objective in my situation. So when the business idea came up, I was just thinking about supporting women with domestic violence as an advocate and doing my behavior supports. And then last year, I was introduced to the opportunity to help people fix their credit. So, and I do that from a behavior perspective.
And so everything just blended and married together.
Yeah, it wasn't me. But as it was happening, I was like, God, how can I put this all together?
When did you launch the Sharing Consultation?
Last year.
Last year?
Yes, last year in September.
2020?
2020, in the COVID.
How did that happen?
I was introduced to the business in June, so just learning. I wanted to become certified as a credit consultant, and I started researching that, and I took the course for that, and my husband said, you doing something else? Yes, I want to be the expert. I want when people come to me, I know what I'm talking about. And I want to help them, not just because what happens is finances is about life. And it's about your behavior and how you'll train your patterns with your financial behaviors, all that stuff. So when I'm talking to people, my consultations are only 30 minutes, right? Sometimes they go a little over, but the questions that I ask, it always comes down to what is the root of your problem? What is your trigger? Why do you spend the way you spend? We can't change that if we don't change your mindset and figure out what caused you to get in this situation in the first place. I don't want repeat customers. When you come to work with me and go ahead and share that information with somebody else, you're not coming to me as a repeat customer.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I don't want
better.
repeat customers.
So you said I don't want repeat customers.
No, ma'am.
That's right.
Because what's the point of coming and fixing or repairing, restoring, whatever you want to use your credit if you're going to go back to the bad habits?
That's right.
Like I had someone come to me and say, well, I was just going to file bankruptcy again. I said, again? Like, how many times you filed bankruptcy? Did it fix the problem?
That's right.
Because you didn't change your behavior.
That's
so
right.
You have to file bankruptcy again.
That's right.
I don't want that. So I can't force people to do, because our program is very interactive, it's very involved, and you as the consumer are knowing your rights. You're learning about everything that you're supposed to do, all things financial literacy as an organizer. So it's very interactive. And I say you have to participate in your own rescue.
You have to participate
In your own
love it,
rescue.
in your own rescue.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Break that down for me, Miss Shawn.
What that means, you didn't get bad credit overnight. And sometimes life just happens. After giving my time to that company for almost 10 years, I was called into the office and a 20-minute meeting said, we can no longer afford to pay you. Monday morning, 10 o'clock, 10:20, I was being escorted out the building with my laptop, my P card, and my keys.
What company was this?
This was Rest Care.
Okay.
This was where I was the behaviorist. But with the state, they were moving in transition to what we call fee for service. So, and I guess everyone couldn't manage it. And then my new boss was not able to handle the fact that, she couldn't work with me for whatever reason, because she couldn't really supervise me because she's not a BCBA, and that's a board certified behavior analyst.
Yes, ma'am. I definitely know. That's right.
So that's what I'm working towards, my certification.
You're working towards your BCBA. That is long hours.
I got my 1,500 hours.
Wow, that's good.
I'm going to sit for my exam by the end of the year, so you pray for me.
I will tilt my hat off to you for that. We're almost identical in our line of work and what we do.
Okay.
And I did counseling and for so many years, and I started off in mental health. I started off basically with mental health, and my master's is in mental health counseling. I tilt my hat off to you for that BCBA. That is a lot.
It is.
And you go ahead and you do that, because the thought process with that is amazing. Or it really trains you to really analyze and really think, because when I was doing counseling inside the home with children, and this is before I started my own agency. I used to do in-home and community with another agency. Then I launched my own agency.
Okay.
And that's a lot. And I tell you, that's a skill. And I said, I don't have time for that. So I took my hat off to you.
Yeah, and people don't understand. So I was so engrossed, and I did that degree at St. Joseph's. I had a stroke in 2016.
Wait, what? Okay.
No cause. No, I don't have a history of diabetes. I don't have any other risk factors. I don't have high cholesterol, high blood pressure. I have none of that. I was 45 years old, and I was driving to the church, getting ready to get mic'd up for my security stuff. And I walked into the building. Something said I was going to CVS, and something said, you know what, just pull over. You're going to be late. Go to the church. Don't go to CVS. And when I went in there and I came in, and our assistant pastor, she came in and asked me to help her with her bracelet. I went to help her with her bracelet. I went down. No symptoms, no pain radiating in your arm, all the stuff they say you're supposed to feel with a stroke. I had none of that. So thank God I was not by myself, because they activated EMS, 911 was there in no time. I was helivac to wherever I had to go, University of Pennsylvania. I missed all that. So I didn't know I was in a helicopter ride. My first helicopter ride, I didn't know about it. But I was not able to move anything on my left side.
For how long?
Totally not moving for 6 days.
Really?
But on the 7th day, they said, come on here. See, that's why it's hard for me not to clap. But on the 7th day.
That's all right, because I'm stopping. You better say it. What happened on the 7th day, Miss Shawn?
We need to get you ready to go to rehab. Because I had sat up, and they walked with me, and I walked across the room with their help. And, in the hospital, it wasn't much therapy. It was just trying to get me to recover. But I never lost my speech. How about that?
Really?
I was blind in one eye for about a half a day. And so at 2:00 in the morning, my godson stayed with me in the hospital. And at 2:00 in the morning, I was able to raise this hand.
Amen.
At 2:00 in the morning. And I was singing whatever I was singing, because he was singing with me.
Won't he do it?
He will do it.
Won't he do it?
You're looking at it, honey. I'm here. And so to be able to go through all that, even
Hallelujah.
after my mother, isn't that amazing? After the loss of my mother, all those losses, and then here it is, I'm about to lose my health. For what reason? Anybody else probably would have given up. But guess what? They came in, and this is me and being the scientist and the researcher, right? They said, there's a research that says people who take Prozac, have a better chance to improve their Rehab. And I said, well, can you give me the research? They looked at me like, yes, I want to see the study you're talking about. Because listen, I'm not the one that's going to talk about medication because I know how much it helps. In addition to talk therapy, counseling, self-coping strategies, all of those things, if you have to take medication because there's something going on up here so that they can balance, right?
Right. With therapy.
With therapy, not alone, not just popping pills.
That's
but when they showed me that, because it's Prozac, those are the stigmas that people be talking about. Mental health has a lot of stigmas.
Yes, it does.
And
Absolutely.
I come to combat them all. I looked at the study and I saw that 80% of the patients that participated in that study, they were 100% successful in their rehab. So what did I do? I started taking Prozac.
Really?
Before I went to therapy. Yes, I did.
And then you took Prozac, and then how did it work? How did it help?
I never got depressed. Out of all that loss, and that's what I want to say, even with my husband, I prayed and I asked God, I need your help. I need you to give me peace because it was just too much going on. And the peace that he gave me in 2002 is a peace that nobody can understand. I was going through all that. Even in that, I never got depressed to the point where I'm staying in the bed. I'm not getting up moving. Yeah, I have my moments. I have my days, but I catch up like, listen, you didn't get up yesterday. Get your hips up. Because I know the principles, but if you can talk yourself into depression.
Yes, you can.
And you can talk yourself
out of it too. That's right.
Right. So when I saw the signs and I noticed those things, those triggers, all those antecedents and all those environmental things that's going on, I pay attention. And I get up, and I was walking out the door, and because people can be walking around functioning still depressed.
Educate them. Let them know.
I have family members, friends. A lot of times we're just going through the motions, but we don't have any motivation. We don't have any desire to do better or to do something different. Our routine is the same, and that's it.
That's right. And you know what? It's good that you said that, because sometimes that mask that we have, and we don't even sometimes don't identify it as a mask, but it's a mask. We don't even know that it is depression, because it's something that we're constantly used to doing. And so when you see someone that is constantly in debt, constantly, like it's just constantly doing the same thing over and over again, that's what it is.
Yeah, and then they don't want to receive your advice. That's why I tell people it's the way that you give advice, and you have to offer it. And if they don't want it, you have to keep moving. That's why I come on my lives and I just share. I'm not telling you what to do. I make recommendations, even when I talk with my clients. This is a recommendation. Now you can choose to do it or you can choose not to, because you choose the behavior, you choose the consequence.
Say it. That's
right. If you choose not to pay your bills on time, the consequence is that you're going to have late payments on your credit and your score is going to drop over 100 points. Let's just talk about that.
Let's just talk about that. You know, I love the way you communicate, because you're right, you're straight, you're to the point, and you're stern, but you're sweet. And when you say, let's talk about that, because I am helping a client right now, there's a couple.
Okay.
And what I notice is that what I teach is the different types of, communication styles, right? But what I notice is that some people in a marriage want to change, maybe one couple, and then the other one just fed up, just don't want to hear it, just done. And it makes it very difficult, because I have an 8-week program. And when you're in the 6th week and you still didn't budget, and you have the tools, why are you here? Why are you wasting my time? Because you are wasting my time. And more importantly, why are you wasting your time?
Exactly.
So how do you handle situations like that when you find someone that on time, respect you, will come to every session, but won't do the work?
Right. We have a conversation. Spit back their goals. Because that's why I asked in my first initial consultation, why do you want to improve your credit? Is it for a house? Is it to buy a car? Or is it just to have better credit, right? Business, whatever it is. So you tell me your goals and when is your expectation that you're going to do this? So if you set your expectations to me, I'm going to feed it back to you. Now, what you're doing, you're not meeting that. So we have values, right? And if you're not living up to those values, what are you going to do to change that?
Love it.
Right?
Yes. I
So
did the
that's
same thing. It's
exactly. See,
treatment planning. We go back to
we
our
did.
treatment plan. What did we say we was going to
What
do in
do
the
we
beginning?
say? That's right.
Yeah, I love
So
that.
you told me, just like we tell God, God, you said you gonna heal me. God,
Mm,
we give God back his words to us. So
mm.
I give them their words back
Back to
to them.
them. Wow.
And then it's their choice.
That's right.
I'm big on choice.
That's right.
Now
That's
you
right.
reached out to me
Mm-hmm.
for my help. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't come finding you because what I do, I just post. I do my business and I post on social media and I do my videos, and you reach out to me for help. And then I start in, we're going to have a conversation because we met on social media. You open up the door and now we're going to have a conversation. Then I'm going to take it offline and we're going to have another conversation where we're talking. And sometimes I do voice text. I like that. Not that I like my own voice, but sometimes you can hear my heart because
Yeah.
text messages, they get misconstrued,
And all the time. Yeah.
and messages and messenger and all that stuff. So I'll just say, hey, this is Shawn Perry. Reached out to me. I'm so excited and I want you to get back to me. Whatever the case may be. You, number one, you know I'm a real person
Right. That's
because
true. That's
people
true.
do business with who they know, like, and trust.
That's true. That's
So
true.
you have all these robots going on and all this. Like I
Mm-hmm.
said, I'm new to the social media world. So
And
I'm
that's why
finding
I'm
out about all
smiling.
this stuff.
And that's why I'm smiling because I didn't know you had a stroke like wow, but you just transformed into this social media world and you are transforming very well.
Well, I appreciate the confidence. I believe each one teach one, transforming lives one at a time. That's the stuff that we're being taught. If I just reach one person,
Yes.
like I had how many followers? A couple hundred followers when I first started. Now I've reached my little 1,000 mark. I'm so happy.
That is good.
But if I can just reach one person,
Mm-hmm.
one
Mm-hmm.
person, that's it. I don't care if no one watches my videos when I come on live, I'm still going to share the same way. You see how passionate I am.
You're
Like
very
I'm going to
passionate.
always give you, first of all, I'm going to give you the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And like with anything that I do, I say, what's the problem, right? And the
Mm-hmm.
problem right now we're dealing with is financial illiteracy. What have we done to research that problem? What are the myths that they talk about credit?
Mm-hmm.
I have bad credit, I just have to wait. But the
Mm-hmm.
reality is, no, you do not.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to wait. You can get it
No.
fixed now, right? You can
Mm-hmm.
start working on it now. Another
Mm-hmm.
one is, they don't know about credit. So what our parents tell us, you can't afford it, you
Mm-hmm.
don't deserve to have it. Not knowing that we can use, because in order to build credit, you have to use credit.
And
Is
you
that
know
right?
what? It's true. It's true. And I had to learn that on my transition in 2017 when I first started. I started years ago with John Kamuta. It was Building Wealth. I still have all his books, and it seems like people don't know about him. You hear about Dave Ramsey and all that, but Dave Ramsey information literally is
From
the
him.
same as John Kamuta. And
Right.
John Kamuta, and also The Millionaire Next Door. I listen to that in my ear every night. It's nothing wrong with borrowing from people and turn into your own. 2017, when I started this debt freedom, I ran under Dave Ramsey 100%. And I'm very transparent. And I always say this. I taught 2 of the classes at FPU, and that's what transformed into Money Therapy Institute, my own school. But I will say, when I went to go and purchase my vacation home, I didn't have no credit, no debt, no credit. So it was hard.
Now you have to prove all that through your business and all that
My
stuff.
broker said, you need to get some credit, because I said, but I don't have no debt. I don't have no car note. I don't have no credit cards. I am good. And it was so difficult. I said, this is crazy. That's when I learned how to teach people, because it depends on where you are in your life. Everything is not for everybody. And I can't teach someone to not have credit in their 20s. But maybe someone in their 60s, they already did what they need to do. They don't need no debt. They're not doing their life. They didn't bought their homes. They good. But it all depends on who you're talking to,
right.
what level. It depends. A learning lesson for me when it came to credit, because I was like,
and you're not the only one. This is what I'm saying. There is over 112 million people out there with a less than a 599 credit score. We have a lot of people to help. So some people just don't have credit. Again, they don't know. So my goal, I'm working towards helping the millennials, because what we did was we taught our daughters. I say they didn't teach us financial literacy in school. I remember back in the day, they came with the bank and they would give us the passbook savings and the bank would come to our school. You remember that?
The passbook savings, the little
Yes.
green one. I had it. I went on my own and did that. But yes.
But the banks back in the day when I was in school, they came to the school to teach us about it. And then we started
Really?
it. Yeah. So you would start it with $10 and then mom would take us to the bank and whatever money we had, we would go deposit, whether it's $2 a year. I'm 52 years old. So, I'm talking a long time ago. That's all we knew. And my mom raised 17 kids by herself. My dad died when I was 6. She wasn't thinking about no credit. Okay. She was, how we gonna eat? How we gonna keep all these kids under this roof? How y'all gonna be dressed nice? How
Wow.
you get what I'm saying?
Yes,
Because she had 6
ma'am.
of her own, and she raised my 5 cousins. Because my aunt
Wow.
had some issues, and my dad took them in. And then there was other people from the neighborhood or from the church that needed a place to stay. At one point, there was 17 people in our household. And she
Wow.
would cook. If you didn't get to dinner table by 6 o'clock, you didn't eat. Pots was going away, honey. But
Kitchen clothes.
I got my nurturing spirit from her. But the
Right.
thing that I have that's not like her is I have boundaries. And that came with learning how to tell people no.
That's right. That's right. That's one of my
What?
curriculums. That's
Come on
right.
here.
That's
There's a way
right.
to tell people no. You don't have to be disrespectful. You don't have to be rude. But that's part of my boundaries. I'm okay with telling you no, and I don't have to use the word no. I know how to tell you no a bunch of different ways. Because we don't like to hear that word no.
I love it. Okay, so give me one of the ways. This is a good one. I have a friend, and her husband, he wanted a house guest, which works for him, and she don't know anything about this woman, and they actually let a stranger in their home.
You may be having some issues, but due to, we have COVID, I'm really not aware. And, for your safety and my safety, we're just not having guests at the time. You say, no, you can't come, but we're not having guests.
That's right. So and boundaries are so important. That's what we learn in mental health when you're teaching your clients. That's what boundaries 101. And
Yep.
I am so serious when it comes to boundaries. So you're saying that your mom was saying yes to people and helping them, but you learned to say.
And then she didn't help herself. See, like she didn't get credit. She was on Social Security and taking care of all of us. So we really grew up. I watched her rob Peter to pay Paul. What I said as I got older, I'm going to pay my bills on time. I'm going to pay public service in the wintertime, because what she did was, if she had other bills, she didn't pay public service in the wintertime, because back then they couldn't turn you off because it was the wintertime. Then here come March, the trucks are rolling around the neighborhood, and now it's don't open the door.
Yeah.
And that's just a transparent moment. And our family was huge, and we sing and everybody knows us, but that was an issue she struggled with finances. And so then I became a correction officer when I was 21. And so my income went from struggling to, hey, we good. I learned how to start being responsible then with my money. But I also, out of that, making that kind of money, became addicted to gambling.
Really?
And I've lost probably close to $100,000. Lost it.
In a year time?
Yeah, about a year. About a year. So, but I was young. So could you imagine if I had known what I know now, what I would have done with that $100,000?
Exactly.
Where I would probably be now. So, but I was saying all that with my job, so I said I was going to do things. I taught my daughter about credit. We taught her, I put her on my credit card when she was 17, add her as authorized user.
That is so important. That is so important. I wanted to just go back to the gambling, because my husband and I had a whole issue for a year. We had an entire issue. And if you're not transparent and real, you have to be transparent and real with yourself in order to help anybody. For an entire year, what?
I was in basketball pools, boxing pools, any type of pool outside of the casinos. I would call out from work, say, S. Walker needs a sick number at the blackjack table.
Oh,
yes. It would be a group of us playing.
That was deep.
We pull our money together. And so instead of me paying $20, we paying for $250 a hand or $2,000 a hand. And we have one person that we'll give the money to. It was intense.
Oh, Miss Shawn, yeah, ours wasn't.
I didn't know anything.
Like that,
I didn't know anything about boxing. I go betting on a boxing match. But you know what stopped me? I told you I'm silly. I paid my daughter's tuition in tubes. installments, right? At the time, she was 4. She was going to private school, and the tuition I think was 4,800, whatever, or 2,400. I paid 12 and 12, whatever it was. I took her tuition money and gambled it. And so in the school that she was in, if you didn't pay your tuition, they had the kids in the auditorium. So everyone know when your kids was in that auditorium, it's because your mom and daddy didn't pay the bill. And I didn't send her to school. And she looked at me and said, well, Mommy, why can't I go to school? Like, I'm not sick. Why can't I go to school? And when I looked in her eyes and I said, I went to my brother, I said, I need $1,200 or $2,400, whatever it was, I can't remember. And, right away, because addiction runs in my family, drug addiction, but addiction is still addiction.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. He just right away thought I was using drugs. It wasn't drugs. It was the gambling. And then to the point where I had people coming after me. My boyfriend, who is now my husband, I would have him drop me off at work so he could keep the car. They wouldn't know that I was at work. It was bad.
Oh, wow.
It was really bad.
Wow. Wow.
But guess who? God delivered me from
Just
that.
say
I didn't have to go to Gamblers Anonymous.
Say it.
I didn't have to go any support groups. But seeing my daughter look at me, asking me why couldn't she go to school, and I didn't have an answer for her.
Wow.
I said I wasn't doing it anymore.
Wow.
But by that time, here's the debt, here's the financial.
The consequences, yeah.
Here's the consequences.
Yeah.
I chose that behavior.
Yeah, wow.
I didn't know anything about this stuff. I'm a correction officer. Now I'm thinking I'm invincible. I got all the attitude. I got a gun on my hip and my ankle,
Yeah.
I was a hot chick, couldn't nobody tell me nothing.
Let me tell you something. I'm married to one that just retired. A correctional officer. So
you already know.
I know. I'm like, yo, man, you are already, you're institutionalized.
Yeah, it was bad.
You're not even in jail, but the way you think, I get it. I get it.
But guess what? However I got out of it, and it wasn't even, it's so funny because my name was still up on the board. Like when my mom she had a quadruple bypass. And I wasn't able, because I had been gambling so much, I had been calling out. So now I don't have any sick time. Wow. I don't have any vacation time. And so when she needed me down in South Carolina, I couldn't go.
How long was you a correctional officer? How many years?
9 years.
9 years. Yeah,
9 years. So by the time I got to there, I was making like 60 grand without no overtime. You're talking in 1990 something. That's a decent amount of change.
That's right. Without overtime, imagine with the overtime.
Exactly.
Yeah. And did you get a pension from that?
It was a small pension because I had borrowed from it when I left the job. Instead of me converting that pension to an IRA or whatever, I used it.
Listen.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am. That's the only way. I'm
kicking myself.
I know.
I don't beat myself up that bad, but I just like, the money you had in your hands, young lady, so many lives could have been changed. My daughter would not have to have any student loans. I wouldn't have to have any student loans. I had $160,000 in student loan debt that I'm paying off.
But your story, your ministry, what you've been through, and now that you have transformed and God transformed you, it is actually helping so many people. And stay honest and true to yourself, because so many people can't be honest to say everything that you just shared in this short amount of time. Really, kudos to you, because that's the only way people are going to really say, you know what? Her story is my story. And I appreciate that. I can definitely relate on some level. Thank you. Thank you for sharing it. Thank you because you just never know, boy. I tell you, you don't know people.
And see, my little thing, because it's all credit restoration, and that's what people are knowing me for now. But that's just my way in the door, because like I said, our consultation turns into a whole family conversation. Saying it's not just about credit. It's not just about finances. What's going on in your life right now? Because they talk to me, well, I can't do this, I can't do that. I said, number one, when you work with me, we don't say the words can't.
Yes.
So we are attempting to do, we're working on it, but we don't say can't. Words are powerful. And I tell people, you shall have what you say.
That's right.
Say you think you can and you think you can't, it's still the truth.
That's right. That's right.
So I work on mindset even with my clients, and people like, it's the businesses, you're moving too fast and you waste a lot of time. I'm not wasting anything, because I believe the value that I bring to them, if it's for the whole picture, because I'm a person that believes in the whole person being healed.
That's right.
Whole, delivered, and set free. So
Mm-hmm.
whatever that means for you. So if it's just a conversation that we can have, because they call me and they ask me, well, you said something because I'm talking about behavior. They have children. And I said, well, you rewarding that bad behavior.
Mm-hmm. Learn all.
Unsolicited
Yes,
advice.
that's right. That's right.
Unsolicited advice. And you called me and said, when you work with me, can I coach you? Do I have permission to coach you? And you give me that permission, then that's what we're gonna do. And like I said, with our program that we have is very interactive. So we do disputes and things like that. So you have to mail off your own dispute letters. You have to send them to the credit bureaus. And when they get back, we have to send them back to our companies. You have to write your budget. You have to put it in the system. You have to anything that's going in that system, you are putting it in there. You have
So you're
to
doing the work. You have them doing the work.
you have them doing the work because there's no buy-in if they don't.
That's right. I
There's
love
some
it.
companies that do everything, and then the
Right. I
client
know.
don't even know their credit score. They don't even know what's being disputed.
I
And I
like
tell
that.
you, education, the use of knowledge is power.
I
We have
like
all the
that.
knowledge in the world, but you don't use it, it's worthless.
I like that.
So
Can you
yes,
tell the listeners? I find, and I'm learning a lot, that sometimes people, I just interviewed Coach Storm Shatirio. Her episode is coming out. I actually didn't just interview her, but her episode is coming out soon. And one of the things that she said is that on social media, she said, I don't try to go on social media to get clients. She said, because I'll be up there running for days on a treadmill, basically.
absolutely.
And can you tell the listeners, how were you able, if someone is trying to get clients and trying to help in finances or whatever it is in their niche, what is it that how can you tell them exactly what they need to do in order to be able to consult and contract?
Number one, you have to know who you are. You have to know who your audience is. That's number two. Who are you trying to help? And then you have to be authentically you. Because like I said, people do business with who they know, like, and trust. If you find out who your audience is and you are working on, you just build you and the people will come. Like I'm not going, yes, I do post and I do, those are the things. I have a daily method of operation that I do, as far as posting on social media, things like that. But my goal is just to add value. I share testimonies of the people that we're working with. So if you have a consulting business, know your craft, right? My goal when I started this credit restoration, because I never had a credit restoration company before, I wanted to learn the industry of credit restoration, the industry of network marketing. That's what I wanted to learn. Personal development. Leaders are readers. So everything you told me, you have all those books and you read all those books, it helps you. But if you don't implement anything that you learned from one of those books, you just wasted your money on Amazon.
Sure did. And your time.
And your time. Leave, those affirmations that we talked about every morning. I wake up, number one, I wake up grateful.
We all have words of affirmation that empower us. What are words of affirmation you would like to share with the listeners? You said, I am confident. I can do all things. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I am empowered.
Yes. And I am confident. It's not saying that I am confident. I am confidence. All things about me, I walk with my head held high. I walk with confidence. I do whatever I do because I have learned the skills and I'm confident in my skill set. You can put me in a room with anyone and I'm okay with it. I can have a conversation with everybody. So I exude confidence, not arrogance. Let's not confuse that. I am fearfully and wonderfully made because I know that I can do all things. That comes from what God told me. Stand strong in my faith. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. So what you say about me doesn't matter. What you think about me doesn't matter. I don't go defending my honor to anyone. People talk about me. They talked about Jesus Christ. I will never come to you and say, you know what, you said this about me, and that's not true. Who are you for me to defend myself to? That part. And I am empowered. Because I believe all these things, I walk and I want to empower others. I am empowered by my knowledge, my skills, my compassion, my empathy. I'm empowered with all those things and all those tools, and I want to share that with other women, with other men. My domestic violence course that I do is not just for women that's been victimized. We've had a couple of men in our class.
Yeah.
Because it does happen to men.
Yes,
you know
it
what I'm saying?
does.
So
yes, it does.
I'm a strong advocate. So I created a little curriculum we call empowerment sessions. And, I do it over 3 weeks within our ministry. And I do it over 3 weeks every quarter. That's what we had
Mhm.
started doing it. And people, when COVID happened, we had to go online. So we
Mhm.
were doing it through Zoom.
Mhm.
But I still do the activities. It's called adapting. Now I do Google Forms and do questionnaires and pre-tests and all that stuff. I'm learning stuff that I didn't know I could do.
I like
So that's
that.
how I'm empowered, because I'm going to learn what I don't know. I didn't know the social media thing, but guess what? That's why you have mentors, you have coaches. You need to be in the room with people who are smarter than you, who've done the thing that you're trying to do. That's how you build your business.
That's right.
You get with the mentors, and I'm definitely going to connect with you on the other side with the finances.
Mhm.
But because we have multiple streams of income. Like, it's your
Mhm.
mindset.
It is.
Like I said, I lost my job at 18 because they said we no longer can pay you.
Right.
I didn't work for 9 months. So what was I using to pay my bills? I had $1,400 worth of medications for one medication that I had to pay. So I was using my credit cards to pay bills.
Mhm.
So by the time 2019 came, I'm almost maxed out,
Mhm.
not working, but I was still paying my bills on time with a little bit of savings that we had.
Mhm.
I wasn't able to do it anymore. So I had to get into programs. I said, because I'm going to pay my mortgage before I pay a credit card.
Mhm. That's
I'm not
right.
going to be without a house. It's called priorities.
That's right.
So I called the credit card companies, and I
Mhm.
said, listen, I want to know if you have a hardship program. How can
Mhm.
you help me? I don't
Mhm.
want to lose my credit card, blah, blah, blah. But they said, in order to get into the hardship program, you got to be late 6 months. You got to miss 6 payments.
Mhm.
I said, what kind of dumb stuff is that?
Mhm.
So I did that on multiple cards, so which means they had to close my account. So my score went from a 740 to a 558 in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, now when I say life happens,
Mhm.
that's not being irresponsible. That's what I'm saying. Everybody who gets into bad credit situations is not
Right.
always have their fault of their own.
Right. Right.
And we have to acknowledge that. So that's why I want to know why you want to fix your credit. What happened? What's your background? What's going on? And if you tell me and just, well, I just like to shop. I can't help. I can't stay out of Target. Then that's a discipline issue. You get what I'm
Right.
saying? So, but I was almost at 91% utilization on my credit cards. 91. And so when I saw about the program, I can get my credit fixed for free, help people get their credit fixed at the same time, and earn some money. Oh, that was a win-win for me. I was up to 91% utilization, where you should be under 30%, right?
Yes. Wow.
If you could be between 1 and 10%, that's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But because I'm living on my credit cards, they up here at 91% across all of them. And I had quite a few, right? I was managing them fine. I didn't have no issue because I was working, paying my bills and using them, paying my bills. That's the key. You have credit cards, you have to use them, because if not, the creditors will close your cards. They will drop your limits. So you have a limit of $10,000. You haven't used that card, and then all of a sudden you go put $5,000 on it, and then they drop your limit to $5,000. You are at 100% utilization.
You know what? That's so true, because when we were purchasing the vacation property and I didn't really have any credit, and I said, you know what? I said to my broker, I think I need a credit card. They only gave me a credit card with $300 because because I had no credit. So
they can't trust you.
She says, isn't that crazy? And I had no debt. That was insane. Shawn, that was insane. All these years, I worked my butt off to not have that. And now you want to give me $300. So she said, now, Stenell, you can't use no more than $30, 10%. So I literally would give the card to my daughter and say, go to Wawa, spend $29, please. So
exactly.
I was so annoyed.
But what I tell people who don't have credit, and then your score is not at a place where you can get a decent credit card, like if it's not like a 680, 700, you're going to have high interest. They're going to give you the low limits and things like that. I tell people to get a secured card, right? Back it with a security deposit. And if you got $2,000 that you could put on it, put $2,000 on that secured card. Pay your cell phone, pay your utilities, and then pay your credit card off with your checking account. That's how you build credit. You pay your bills that you already have money accounted for on that credit card.
That's what I wrote in my book. I actually had to learn and research that. I wrote it in my book.
Yes.
And I had my son to do that. And my son's score literally popped up. And I actually had to do that myself because I didn't have any debt.
One of my clients is a family member. no credit whatsoever. One thing was in collections, I think. So we got that removed off our credit. I told her to get the credit card. She can only start with $250, but her cell phone was $60. Put your cell phone on there, automatic payment, pay it off every month. Her score was a 525. It's a 687 right now.
Yeah.
In 7 months. You get what I'm saying? Because it's constant payment, constant activity, and you're paying it off every single month, and it's building that way. We also have a credit my rent program. People don't know you can get your rent added to your credit report, because rent is most of the time your largest bill. And if you pay it on time, you should be getting credit for it.
You should.
Because get evicted, guess what?
That'll put it on there in a heartbeat.
It's on your credit report.
So how do you get your rent on your credit report?
There's a program we have called Credit My Rent. Okay. And if you want to get up to 2 years of your on time, keywords is on time rent payment histories. If you pay your rent on time, you can get up to 2 years of your rent reported to your credit report, and it'll give your score a boost anywhere from 50 to 100 points just by doing that. Or you can add 1 year, or you can start from where you are and just start adding it right now for $9.95 a month. But it's an additional service that we offer in addition to the credit repair. And so people, it's worth the $150 to get the 2 years added, because how many points you gonna get to your credit score? I had one person call me, said she got an 81 point increase. And she said she hadn't even sent off a dispute letter yet.
Wow. Okay.
Just because she added her rent to her credit report. So those are the
Credit My Rent?
That's our program, Credit My Rent.
Your program is called Credit My Rent. So I'm going to get all your information. Okay.
You have my website. Everything, you can just click on the link. They're all there.
Yes, and I'm gonna put it in the show notes as well. But I mean, we're like over our time, but I have
goodness.
We're so over our time, but I have so many questions. I want to go back, way back. You mentioned something about you put your daughter when she was 17 on your credit.
Yes,
and can you expound on that? It works wonders. Can you expound on how that works?
That works because whoever you attach onto your credit as an authorized user, they now have gained all of your credit history, which means that 15% of your credit is your length of history, the age of your accounts. That 17-year-old now has 20 years of credit added to her. Now, I tell people, don't go add an authorized user and the people are overspending. I didn't give her the credit card. I just put her on there.
Correct.
That's the key.
Right.
And you can start as early as 13 years old, depending on the card that you have. So when she came out of high school, her credit score was already 700. When she graduated from college, I think it was like a 760. There's some things that I can do in the daytime and stuff like that because we're working from home. But for the most part, I'm on the computer, I'm in meetings. I start my business for myself because I'm going to work hard on my business for the next 5 years so that I can retire I don't have to work. If I'm going to work for somebody for 5 years, it's going to be for me.
That's right.
And so I want to plan to retire in 5 years. That's my plan.
That's right.
It's my plan. What does God say? He might say sooner, but
that's right.
But I work hard for myself. So I don't mind staying up to 12, 1, 2 o'clock.
No, not at all.
I work with people on the West Coast.
And that's important. And that's what I teach business owners, how to retire from your own business. You're working in the business. You're actually working on the business to actually make that business even more profitable. So yes. So
we're connected for a reason. I thank God for you, honey. You had just blessed me, and I'm getting more confidence because someone asked me to do an Instagram thing with them. We just went on Instagram. We did a live, and she was asking me questions. She was a realtor, and she did like a little home buyer seminar or something, and she was talking about home ownership, and I was just talking all things credit. And that was my first experience on Instagram with type of live scenario like that. And so like this right here, I've never done this before.
Well,
so
this is your first.
Another first.
We have over 2,000 listeners. Yeah, we do. Yeah.
What?
Yes, it's not a year yet. It'll be a year in September.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm also in this self-care group on Facebook. And I was just posting like self-care tips and just inspirational stuff. And the admin called me and said, I like what you've been posting. And, I want you to consider being one of my admins. And this was last year. She said that, and so I've been the admin in the self-care group, but this is about us empowering one another.
That's it. That's what it's about.
So if I got to post in 20 groups, just to get that message out there to encourage somebody and keep moving, it don't take long. That's what I'm saying. When you get a system, I believe in systems. Save yourself time, energy, and money.
Listen, my system is a whole person. We've been riding together for, oh my gosh, 15 years.
Wow.
She's phenomenal. That's my system right there, because of having all these companies,
You have a
I'm
lot
not
of stuff
able-
going on.
Yeah, I'm not able to manage anything with social media, and everybody know that. I don't fake it. I don't front it. I cannot. There's no way I cannot do it. Number one, I don't have the expertise that she has to do it, because I tried it. It takes me too long to do one thing, and I do not have the patience. So let me continue to be able to do what I do over here.
Delegate.
You say it.
Delegate.
So, I want to say thank you so much.
You are welcome, sweetie,
for coming on the show. And I always say to people, no more excuses, wake up. So can you help me end the show with no more excuses, wake up? What can you tell the listeners?
Well, if you heard my story, you know there are no excuses, honey. Couldn't walk, couldn't think, couldn't do anything on my own, but God, he was able to lift me up out of that. And I fought for myself. So you have to be a participator in your own rescue. No more excuses. Get up, do something, show up 100%. Give all you got to give. Have an attitude of gratitude. If you got an attitude of gratitude, you don't have a reason to make an excuse for anything.
There you go. You heard it from Miss Shawn Perry. No more excuses, y'all. Y'all better go out there and do you.
Thank you so much. Y'all be blessed.
Hey, smart people. I have a 3-month one-on-one personal or business coaching program. As you all know, I paid off $50,000 in debt in 1 year. I will teach you how I stayed out of debt using my burner method and personalized spreadsheet I created to fit my lifestyle and keep me on track. You will learn how to understand your money communication style using my financial treatment plan. Also, if you own a small business and you feel stuck with cash flow or feel disorganized, I teach business owners and self-employed entrepreneurs such as yourself to financially maximize your money, build wealth using your business income, and retire working on the business while your business continues to run, such as myself. You can book a call with me. The link is in the show notes. Thank you for listening to No More Excuses, Wake Up. If you love the show, please subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes or Spotify. To learn more about me and my different agencies and what I do, go to StenellMyersEnterprises.com. While you're there, check out Money Therapy Institute and watch my video where you will see me doing a little acting, showing you how I fought and kicked down closed doors. You can also click on Stenell Money Therapist and get my free budget spreadsheet. And of course, you can email me at contact@StenellMoneyTherapist.com. I'm also on social media on Facebook at Stenell Money Therapist and Instagram at Stenell the Money Therapist. No more excuses. Y'all know what y'all need to do. Wake up.